I hope the subs picked that up. Oh no, they didn't. I just saw them there.
Uh,
They're not there.
and
Oh.
we're missing Eilish as well.
You're all very, very welcome along to Beyond Horizon's Edge. Um it's been a fun Emma, has it been fun for you? Has it been fun for
Hasn't.
you?
No.
It hasn't. You haven't.
Eilish and her fucking setup.
There's a musical there. There's some riff on Eilish and her multi-technological faults. I think there's something in that. Um we are we wanted to, so tonight's stream is we're not going to actually be playing anything. um if you're kind of going, oh no, damn it, I wanted to know what happened to Redmond and why Mooney's evil now. We've been uh we are we wanted to keep the space going, but unfortunately um Kat isn't feeling well this evening, so we decided to postpone the stream of the regular episode, so that we could have Kat join us. It would be kind of weird to have what's about to happen without Kat there. So, um, Kat, if you are watching this, I hope you feel better. I know everybody else hopes you feel better very, very soon. And what we are going to do instead, though, is we are going to do a recap for you as to kind of what's happened, but not sort of, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's very much going to be a look at the characters from the players' perspectives, um, and kind of a journey through the uh, handful of chapters that we've got to explore in Beyond Horizon's Edge. Before that, though, very quickly, just to mention, you are very welcome to our little channel here on Twitch. If you're a first time around these parts, do say hello in chat. If you're here for Beyond Horizon's Edge, all of our previous episodes are available over on YouTube. You can catch all the VODs there. I really, really excited for where the story is going, and I will be sharing some of the details from plans that didn't quite take off to maybe hinting at what we were looking at for the next couple of sessions. Before that, though, very quickly, just to mention our friends over at Mystery Dice Goblin. Mystery Dice Goblin are a UK-based D&D or TTRPG store, in fact, catering to all your dice needs. And if you're in the mood for some dice, and they're running Halloween-inspired blind bags at the moment, or mystery bags, so much so that I went and I bought 6 of them. I bought 6 bags of dice because that's another thing I needed to add to my collection, and I used the code D8, and that got me 15% off my order, and it meant that I was helping Mr. Dice Goblin, and a little bit of the sale came back to D8, and that helps us pay artists for artwork, commission musicians for music, and so on and so forth. So if you need some new dice, or you want to treat a DM or your party to some goodies, you can't go wrong with Mr. Dice. Out of the 6, I got 4 sets that I actually really, really liked. Like there was like, ooh, I like this one. Then no, I've opened them all. I literally opened them all. I should have waited. That's terrible. But I will show you this one because this is the one
Like a
I've.
Halloween advent calendar.
Yes, but I opened it all and I crammed it all into my face. And then remembered it was dice and not chocolate. But yes, actually, this is one of my. Yeah, this is. I collect a lot of. I have to do the Mua thing. Um, I collect a lot of pinks and purples and blue dice, and I got this set, and it's quite a nice, um, dark pinky kind of bloody red color. Um, and yeah, so I'm keeping that set. And I tell you what, I have 2 sets going. I'm happy to share those 2 sets. So this is a chance to ask some questions about Beyond Horizon's Edge, the characters, or anything like that. So tell you what, I will pick out of the. If you're in chat this evening and you want one of those sets of dice, my favorite questions that we get asked or the two best questions we were asked, I will send you one of the sets of dice, and I won't know what's. I'm keeping the four sets that I like, but of the two sets, I won't know who I'm going to send what to. It is opened because I'm a child and I ripped into every bag like a child does at an advent calendar. But I I think we should start because we're not going to be here all night either, and we've got quite a bit to go through. And what I wanted to start this evening with was, and I think the best way to kind of maybe look back on the episodes is through the journeys of the characters. Um, so I guess to Emma, Richard, and Eilish, who play Regiment, Annam, and Diara respectively. Uh, do you each want to take kind of a moment or two to tell us a little bit about the character that you started playing, and then the version of that character that you have now, living or otherwise? Is that where you kind of maybe thought the character would go, or what? Like, so we'll start there. And Emma, do you want to take us off?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely started this by thinking that producing would be good fun. And then Eilish came along. So, but no, no, seriously, let me talk about my character. Yeah, it's interesting because we obviously started out in a different campaign, and this has kind of been almost a reset of that. And I had already left that campaign because I had a son and needed to raise him, and that takes time. And then I realized that they got to bed at a certain time and I could play after that. So that was good. So that story originally had kind of continued in a way that I wasn't really involved in. And when I was watching along and followed along, it kind of gave me a chance then to join this Beyond Horizon's Edge campaign. And I missed playing that character. It was one of the big things I really missed about playing D&D was playing Regiment. So when I started this, I said, I swear to God, if Eilish leaves one more time, I'm going to kill her. That's not what I said. I thought if
That's what she said.
yeah, I thought, you know what, this is a chance to refresh and sort of really think about it, because I think I just went into the original campaign thinking, he's just a bit stupid, he just likes to fight, he's just kind of somebody who just kind of sees the light side of everything, or just easy to rouse and that kind of thing. And I thought maybe this might give me a chance to give him a bit more depth, which was nice. And I think given the arc of this Beyond Horizon's Edge, looking back into memories and childhood, and especially that last episode we did, it's really given a chance to do that. So certainly the first couple of episodes of Beyond Horizon's Edge, I was just trying to find my feet again. I definitely did things I didn't like and did things I did like, but yeah, for sure. Then as the episodes went on, I was like, okay, I can kind of lean more into the backstory, lean more into the relationships, rather than just being like, oh, everything that happens, thinking, oh shit, what would Regiment do now? Being more just kind of holistically in that character, and then able to kind of understand and be more aware and interact more with the surroundings and the story and the arc, and all of that stuff. So yeah,
it's been really fun to see, because I DM'd obviously Rise of the Forsaken as well, and I remember when Emma, you and Eilish and Kat were, it was like, look, I had said, look, you can keep the characters or you can do new characters. I won't lie, I mean, I was happy, like that was genuine, I was happy for that, but I do think I still had a bit of trepidation of that. I was like, I don't know how well it will work bringing these characters. It's the same world, like we're still playing in the exact same space as Rise of the Forsaken. It was just, as you said, like someone pressed the reset button, and then we got a whole sort of, actually this is DLC and all the original stuff has now been gone and this is what's replaced it, and we've had a kind of a reset, a rewrite, and a reboot for what we were doing. And to see the characters come in then, and there was that thing of like, are they going to be different? Are they going to be? Are we going to get the same versions of them? And I don't know if the audience or anyone who watches regularly enough was thinking that same thing. Oh, it's Reggie. Oh, it's Dayara. Oh, it's Mooney. Again, like you said, in those first couple of episodes, I think people are still trying to find their feet with these characters in this world. But I think very, very quickly, the three of you in particular, given that you were, resurrecting three characters that were established, I think you've all brought something very different to them. Or we're seeing other qualities in them that weren't there, like or weren't as apparent, we'll say, in Rise of the Forsaken. Eilish, what about you? Like, what about this version of Dayara and kind of where she sees, like, where the character is right now in the story, and the character that you had brought in at the start? Do you think she's changed a whole pile, or where do you think you're going?
Yeah. Sorry, there's a delay because I'm listening to the audio on the stream.
That's fine.
So I feel like in the original one, I was more like the maternal figure, I guess. And like she was helping Eileen with the kids and kind of trying to pick up all of Eileen's role. Not that she's ever replaceable, but you know what I mean. Whereas in this one, she is more like, I think she is the youngest and she acts like it. Like she has an attitude that like I don't think she really had in the first one. And yeah, I don't know which one I prefer, to be honest, because like obviously there's a lot that I can lean into in the motherly figure, but at the same time I'm like I just love really annoying you and your NPCs.
I think the first version of Dayara that we saw in Rise of the Forsaken was very gentle. Like I think she was that like, well, I won't speak out because my job is to smooth things over. My job is to keep the peace, keep the calm. Whether it's with the kids in the Red Apple Orchard, or amongst the older the original four that were taken in. It is a real treat to see this. It almost feels like we're seeing like Dara as that sort of young adult who is kind of trying to assert herself. But I still, and this isn't but it's the same character. I still see that need within her to kind of mind the others.
Yeah.
And I like it's quite funny, I think, given where we are currently in the story, that she kind of finds herself trying and let's face it, failing to protect the others from what's coming. And now it's that thing of, I'm really excited to see what you do as Dayara with all of the feelings that you have against Mooney. Now that is it fair to say that you kind of see Mooney as the instigator for the harm that's fallen on?
Well, yeah, because I mean, as far as Dayara, like I know Eilish knows Mooney's not the real reason to blame, but as far as Dayara is concerned, she's like betrayed them all. So
okay. For the and there's an interesting thing that we can kind of come back to, but Richard, you came in completely new to all of this. I mean, and new in that sense of we had never played with you before, but you had played with Kat, and like that was the sort of like, hey, I know somebody that would be a really good fit and would work and would be a solid player around the table. And in Rit Annam, and it's funny to see a character who puts Reggie in his place, but is at the same time Reggie's best friend. Like uh, so I don't, we don't have that ability to ask you, your version of Anim before and this version of Anim now. But I suppose the character that you pitched, and the story that you wrote was wonderful ammunition, and a real treat as the DM to get to read that version of the character and the version that you've been playing over the last few months. Uh, how much of that do you think still remains, and how much of that do you see sort of as, oh, that was interesting, but I think this is the direction I'm going to go with him?
So to begin with, I obviously had the concept of a character you want to play a barbarian, a sort of the right. I find that you take the character class and decide why it is that way, and I have to decide from there what gave Anna his grade, and I kind of just built up that with the main plot there. Um, and I came in with this idea of Anna more or less fully formed as he is. Um, and if I have one regret looking back, it's that I, in a way, created a character who wouldn't talk very much about what's happening inside. And I didn't realise then just how absolutely fantastic the people I was about to play with were about being open and playing and really throwing themselves out there. And I got to discover through that things like I think Adam would just so desperately look up to Reggie, latch on to Reggie, wish to, get Reggie's approval. In whatever form that presented itself. Um, Especially, and outside of fact, I can say I personally was very jealous seeing Cat's release spell descriptions, especially. Um, so I feel like mostly haven't really changed Adam. I just have ideas of how I wish I could have. Sort of concept of Adam seeing himself as the loyal dog who just wants to please people around and very easily led has stayed pretty solid, I'd say.
And I guess you were the first, Anna was the first character that we lost on the show, like kind of in the story. And I want to come back to the, like, because I also don't want to go heavy into the this any kind of spoiler stuff in case anybody is trying to catch up on the VODs and stuff. But um, with kind of Anim and his backstory, kind of the characters, and to be fair, people watching were able to just walk through it like they were reading your diary. We really got to see like a real. It was very, very emotional, I think, and I thought that those scenes between Anim and his parents, and then Anim and his father, like, for a character that you said yourself that wasn't going to be the talker, he wasn't going to be the words guy. I think you conveyed an awful lot just in action, just in that sort of like, I am going to describe. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to describe what he does in reaction to these things. Where does that come from?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. That just kind of felt really organic. I think if you look back, you'll see I caught myself having lots of little moments like that as the early sessions went on, and the one that really stuck out was putting the scarf over the Tiefling's horns. Forget the name, but when we were recovering Sunny's Tiefling thing,
I'll pull it up. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I remember that at one point in the initial description of those characters in the mess hall, she was trying to hide her horns. So when she was bruised and beaten and in front of everyone before we left, I knew Anna wouldn't be happy to leave her like that. And I found just the character of Anna going in my head the same way other people might have an idea of how their character would speak. I just kept having this moment of Anna. How Anna would react with an actions, not her words first.
With It's Alasha, the sorceress, the tiefling sorceress as well. Just in case. Because we weren't playing tonight, I didn't have my notes open. But the tiefling sorceress is known as Alasha.
I actually knew that, but I just didn't want to interrupt your flow of conversation. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great flex. Thank you. I appreciate the fact that you appreciate my lore. I with like there's been some really great moments over the last couple of sessions that we've had. I would love to know what each of you feel is sort of a pivotal moment, or just a moment that you're not going to forget for your character. And then likewise, I'd like to know, like, is there, from the others around the table, and I know Kat's not with us, but let's throw Mooney in there as well. Is there anything that, is there any moments from the series so far that you're like, these stand out, these were the moments? So Emma, any particular Reggie? All of them?
A couple of them, I think. All of them, yeah. No. I really enjoyed the painting, right, and the fact that he got into trouble for doing that while they were out getting drunk, and just how that sort of all played out, and Byron being so disappointed in him, and again Reggie trying to flex, even though Byron being disappointed in him is one of the things that will make him the most sad, right? For sure, like definitely that. And then his flashback episode with Diara, that was an emotional roller coaster. And I mentioned earlier, I really enjoyed that sort of throwback to understanding why he's so I guess chauvinistic, and why he hides a lot of that is to bury just, again, his biggest fear is being a big disappointment. So I really liked being able to dig into that. So I think those two moments for sure for Reggie. Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess with your kind of Reggie's moment, like, were there any of the other characters that, any of their moments that stood out to you? Any kind of
I guess so. I'm trying to think.
I'll tell you what, I can, because it's your character, it's always easy to come up with those.
And that's not. It makes me sound like I'm only.
No. But that's I think that's the same for everybody. So why don't we, Eilish? Why don't we, like, Diara moment? What's your top tier Diara moment? Nah, they were all shite from Homebrew Ben. Okay.
Emma stole mine. So I think
if
liked.
If it was a shared moment, you can still have a moment.
I think I liked the when she figured out that Mooney was after stealing her mirror, and still was kind of like in denial. I think that just kind of spoke to, like, her naivety a little bit, I think, where she just couldn't imagine a reason why Mooney, the, like, absolute head case that she is, would just start becoming evil. For what, like, she's like so good and pure that, like, in Diara's mind, there's no way that she would do it for any sort of, like, nefarious reasons. So to come to that realization and then be like, oh, actually, she might be murdering all of us, was a bit like, okay, well, now what?
And Richard, anything for Annam that stands out?
Say that again.
For Richard, sorry. Yeah, Richard.
Can't hear Richard.
Can you hear Richard? Nope. D8 Dungeon streams that keep on giving.
For Christmas, we're all getting new microphones.
All right, he's gone. Personally, I liked when Richard was a chair. I thought that was.
That episode has been retired to the archives. It will never see the light of day.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Cool. You all muted on me. I don't even know what happened there. I was going to say just before my own moment, I do want to say for Diara, I couldn't pick a specific moment, but I think that's because I feel that Diara had all the best plot lines running. Like Diara had the best interactions with the NPCs. Diara had Bernie.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
That was a whole thing. For Annam, I think it'll be years before I get that scene of him and his father sitting in the room not talking out of my head. I don't think I've ever felt so much tension in a Dungeons and Dragons description. I could feel the room. I could touch the tension in the air in that moment. It's horrendous.
You're welcome. Richard, that was 50-50. That's not like that was. Sorry, I have a cat that's decided that he wants to redecorate the box that I got him. So he's knocking a wall down at the moment. That particular scene. Never mind. That particular scene. I love those moments where the silence plays a huge part, and it's really weird. Like, because you are on stream, people are watching, and it's that thing of like, no, we're all sitting here, and we are going to let this fester. We're going to let this quiet rage just burn away at the edges, and it's going to get uncomfortable, and it's going to get difficult, and it's going to get and I guess when it comes to those things, this is something that because obviously we're doing it live on stream, those kinds of moments are they make for really, really interesting character arc, character development, character spotlights, if you want, but they also come with an awful lot of risk, like and one of my favorite things, and this is going to sound corny as hell, one of my favorite things about the stream and the show and the people around the table is I have a huge amount of trust in my players. I know that I can throw something in there. I know that we can have those moments, and like even the Reggie and Diara, like someday when this is all wrapped up, I will reveal my notes for some of these things, and you will just see a handful of lines or a handful of sentences, and it is just that thing of like, let these things happen naturally, let these things kind of play themselves out. I just need to nudge it the right way. And I have had the pleasure to be part of some of those really wonderful and sometimes uncomfortable and sometimes sad moments. I have trust in my players. Earlier that day, I don't care for chair. They weren't my players in that session, homebrew show. They were not my players. I've had like it's hard for me to pick like a moment for each of you, because I've had hey Eaglevy, I've had a lot of fun, and when Rise of the Forsaken, when we cancelled it, I was quite sad because I've had an awful lot of time invested in the world of Down, the place that we are playing in, and Eilish and Emma, you know that because you've already played in that world in a home game, in an offline space, and when we got the chance to go back to it, I was ecstatic because it is it's a place that I really, really love, and a lot of it is kind of steeped in my own memories, not my own experiences, I think, rather. So I'm drawing on a lot of like things I've seen or places I've been to or people I know, and I'm putting a bit of them into the characters and putting a little bit of color from where I live or where I grew up into that space. With all of that said, the story, and if anybody has been watching it for a while, you will know that an awful lot has happened in a short amount of time, and then it didn't happen. And then an awful lot of stuff happened in a short amount of time, and then it didn't happen. And now, in what we know as the third reset or loop, do we see a huge amount of stuff happen again? The end result yet to be kind of revealed. So I would love to know, because whatever about your characters. So let's not go to because two of you are dead. Let's focus on what does your character think? I don't know. He hasn't got a pulse. Quick, Dara, resurrect him. Oh wait. I would love to know what you as players think.
I'm out of spell slots.
Where do you think the story is going, or have you any theories as to what's happening? And I will neither confirm nor deny them at all. But I would love to know what your kinds of thoughts are. Emma?
Yeah, I try not to overthink it, because either I'll be frustrated if I'm wrong, and I'll be frustrated if I'm right. But where do I think it's going?
To hell.
I imagine Mooney's going to kill us all. And then I assume we'll figure out why that's happened, I guess. And I think we'll all probably turn against her before we realize that it wasn't her choice or fault or something. And I assume then the four of us will have to fight some sort of big bad. Or the big bad could be the friends we made along the way. It's hard to know at this point. But yeah, that's my assumption. But again, I'm trying not to overthink the nuance part, because I'd be afraid I'd be like, oh yeah, Regimen will say this or prepare this, and then I'd never get to do it, or blah blah blah. But yeah, that's kind of my overarching what I think will happen.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Eilish?
She's on the delay.
I think every time I think I have a kind of handle on where the story might be going, you realize and decide to change it. So I literally have no idea. Like the one thing that I did know kind of going in, or kind of took for granted, was that there was similar aspects of like repeating a cycle or some sort of time jump or alternate universe or whatever, but I still haven't really pinned down which one of those it is. And I think the frustrating thing for me is I know that there is a lesson that Diara is supposed to learn by witnessing all her friends die, but I still don't know what that is. So she definitely doesn't know what that is. So
well, you didn't technically witness Annam die.
Well, you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm just like, it's incredibly frustrating as a character to kind of, or as a player to kind of be as confused as your character. But I suppose it means that it removes the option for metagaming, like Emma said, that we don't know what the end goal is. And yeah, I trust that before it's over, I will cry at least 3 more times. And then probably again at the end.
Again, I'm purely that this is out of curiosity. I would love to know kind of like, from what we've seen and experienced and played, like, have people begun to kind of stitch stuff? And I oftentimes I do leave a session, I'm like, I think I have confused them again, I think I've
Usually, always. Yes.
that's so like I'm in a way I'm kind of glad because like it is a thing of like because I do come away kind of oh I think you did it again, and then
But you know how you were saying like you like us to sit in those silences and stew?
Mm.
A lot of the time when I'm silent, it's because I have no idea what you want me to do next. And I know that you don't want me to do anything, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do because there's so much like helplessness in that moment. So, yeah, it might seem poignant, but it's not. I'm just dumb.
Oh. I just look smart as I sit there. Richard, what about you? Have you any kind of thoughts on? Because I mean, technically, if we want to, if we want to drill down into the story, the recent sort of reset and whatnot, and the fact that this one seems different, all hinges on something you did.
Yeah, you're
So I spied the theme of hope being taken away when you killed Henry Wingback. So that was a really good foreshadowing.
Mm.
And obviously you are referring to in the cave with Lord Brassica when I opened the tomb. And I gotta say, I think that was the point in all of this where I was the most confused. But something very, very early on had me leave the session like, we're in a time loop. I don't know why, but I know we are.
I think it was in the cave, wasn't it? When we were, we were traveling along the river. There was a dead horse, and then the cave. Yeah, I think it was then, and afterwards you were like, "We're in a time loop."
Sorry, hang on a second. I love there was a river, dead horse. I actually, if you were to go back and watch the episode, I spent an inordinate amount of time describing the river. And what you talk about that was dead horse. That was a river, dead horse. That whole thing there. I actually spent ages describing that river and like because you asked loads of questions about it and wow, okay, river, dead horse, got it. Episode summed up.
Yeah, timey-wimey stuff.
River, dead horse, timey-wimey stuff. Yeah, I will say, and I won't talk about any kind of spoilery stuff because a lot of whether it's Beyond Horizon's Edge, and Emma, by the way, you should totally listen to, just even if you don't listen to the podcast on a regular basis, you should totally listen to the start of the next episode of Romancing the Dungeon. I did it specifically for you. I think you'll enjoy it.
The one that's out now.
The one that's coming out on Friday.
Okay,
I think you will really enjoy it. But I specifically went in with this was recorded months ago and Emma will love it. Timey-wimey stuff.
I can't wait.
But one of my favorite things to do as a writer is I love playing with narrative design, and I love taking aspects of a story, and we're all used to the linear sort of like the hero's journey. Oh, everything's great. Oh, something bad's happening. Gotta go fix it. Oh, I failed. Oh, I'm gonna try harder. Oh, we win, and peace has been restored, and there's a new era upon us. And those stories are phenomenal, and they last for so long for very specific reasons. They stay with us for an awful long time, and I had in the kind of the early stages of Beyond Horizon's Edge, I had wondered about what I would do because there was a lot of stuff in Rise of the Forsaken that I didn't get to pull on, and that was kind of just sitting there, and I was like, okay, well, I can't take that stuff and just smash it into this because it's going to be a bit messy. It's not going to fit this new story. But I liked aspects of kind of characters. I liked aspects of some of the plot lines, and I thought about kind of ways that I could use those. And one of them was this sort of, because I won't deny it, because I think the characters have kind of figured it out themselves. There is this sort of time loop or reset that occurs why it's occurring, who's responsible, why it's in there in the first place. We have some things they're there and they might become obvious after the facts, and other parts of it you've not been able to for very obvious fucking reasons. Like no one's gonna let you peek behind the curtain. Like that's where the magicians, tools and stuff are. I have to distract you with these other things. So for ye to leave sessions are parts of the story where I'm like, oh, it's so obvious. They're so confused. Oh god, I'm doing a bad job. Oh wait, no, they're meant to be confused. I've really liked that sort of, because I have had that. Oh no, I'm doing a bad job. Oh wait, but I'm doing an excellent job. They don't know what's happening. And I've had a lot of fun with this story, and I'm really excited because it goes back to either something that you had said, that like that sort of sitting there and waiting, and me wanting me to do the thing. I don't care what you do. I mean, I do. I really do care about it. But whatever you do, that's going to give me my next prompt. That's going to give me my next bit to build on and to take and to rework and use. So sometimes if it's just sitting there in silence and not reacting, other times if it's jumping in head first, if it's doing the thing that your gut's telling you not to do but you think it's the right thing to do for your character. I love when players do those things. It never, because we often joke of like, well, how much planning has Declan done versus how much of it are the party actually going to do. There's a reason why I only use scaffold notes. I don't anymore. I don't plan out a schedule anymore. It's very rare I leave a Beyond Horizon's Edge or actually any game I'm DMing these days, where I leave it going. That's a bit of a weird thing. I haven't had. I as players, this. I will often sometimes go, so was everybody okay? Was that good? Did I do a good job? I need everybody to tell me I did a good job. I feel like I didn't do a good job. I'm sorry for wasting your time. I've had a lot of those moments, but I haven't had any in months. And it is because I leave most of our sessions, whether it's Beyond Horizon's Edge or random DMs or Romancing the Dungeon, it's because I've had a fun time playing it and not over planning it to yes, I have my overarching story. I have no idea what happens if you when it comes to a head. I really don't. And I'm really excited about that, because that to me is just a whole load of opportunity to go back. And I have been thinking about it. I have been thinking, oh, well, if this happens, this could happen. And if that happens, well, this could work there. I know some things because I'm like, well, regardless, these players are going to do something. And I have my characters that are going to feel a certain way about whatever they do. So from my point of view, whatever ye do is only going to be good, because it's going to give me the next thing to move into. And I'm glad that the time loop stuff was that sort of, oh fuck, we're in a time loop, and with no clues as to what to do to break it or to figure it out, because as far as it's that sort of it's not just that we're repeating the same day. Sometimes we come back and we're a little older, we're a little more experienced. Other times we come back and we're brand new, we're just after joining. So it has been that sort of like, at what point can we do anything about what's happening to us? And now it kind of feels like, with that little push from Annam, that things are falling apart. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we have to find out. And we have to kind of continue pushing it. So I've gotten a huge buzz and a lot of enjoyment out of getting to DM this for the four of you. I the only thing I will say is Kat did ask me that, like, oh, whatever happens at the end, will Brassica be safe? I guarantee you, Brassica is going nowhere. Whatever happens, there will be a Brassica. My sassy little badger, and I love him, and he gets to stay. He is protected. Do ye have any questions, or does anybody in chat have any questions? Because now is your chance to maybe poke and see if you can get a little bit of info.
Let's go.
While we wait.
Oh, yeah, go.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
Am
Well,
I going to
we
have
wait
to
for-
fight Mooney?
None for you, Alice. Richard.
While we wait for chat's questions, I have 2 theories that I think the story is going in. Do
Yeah.
you want to...
I'd love to hear them.
Cool. So all my ideas have to do with the idea of why Mooney is stealing our hope.
Yeah.
And as far as like the grander scheme of the time loop, I can't quite figure that out. But I figure the hope is either in essence a screenshot of who we were at our most powerful, at our most us, our truest selves in those moments, and Mooney had to take that like a screenshot, stealing it away, so that essence of us could be somewhere else at the right time.
Very
And my
good.
other theory is that we had that moment, we had our hope at the wrong time, and that comes from all the other anims we saw. I was the wrong anim. We were the wrong Reggie, the wrong Diara. Something else was meant to happen. And once all the hope is taken, it's going to be put right. It's going to be put in the right place so that the timeline effectively is corrected.
Again, I won't tell you whether you were. Those are really interesting because it's one of those things of, you know, when you watch a movie with your friends and you all come away with something different from it. Nobody's wrong, nobody's right. But you all kind of like. I love when people interpret it their way. There's a lot in both of those theories, and I do think I'm hoping to reveal like that towards the end, and because I always hate that, like, and tune into the last episode where all of it gets unmasked. I like that sort of slow trickle, and then that trickle begins to pick up pace, and suddenly there's a stream of information, and now it's now we have a fuller picture. Now we have a full-blown river of story in front of us. And stuff over the last few weeks has been sort of trickling in, and we were starting to get snippets of this could be the truth, or this could be part of it, and this I don't think is real. It's only when and if Diara and Mooney interact and catch up to each other, do we see that could we see more information get kind of like pulled in and those pieces put back together. Anybody else?
So is Mooney like Loki?
Is Mooney like oh, you mean like from the TV show?
Yeah. With all the timey-wimey stuff. Yeah.
Oh god, I hope not. I watched one episode and I didn't like it. So in case anybody's like, this is just the plot of Loki, I really hope it isn't, because I watched.
It's not at all. It's not
I
at all.
watched one episode. I think I can stitch it all together.
I can make other like references. Like,
Yeah.
is Mooney Tom Cruise in The Day After whatever? What was that movie?
The Day After Tomorrow?
No,
Is it-
no, it's the wrong one. The other one where he's reliving the same day over and over. Anyway,
Groundhog Day.
nope.
Yeah, that's what it is. Wait a minute. Is there a thing that where that happens? Because I was going with Time Lords. Oh god, the BBC are going to be so mad at me again.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yes, thank you, Ben.
I love that movie.
That's with Emily Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
Alish, any questions? Wait for the delay to be over.
I'm afraid that if I ask a question, it'll be stupid.
No
Those are
such,
the best questions of all.
Those are the best questions.
no such thing as a stupid question.
For everybody else to laugh at?
No, there's no stupid questions.
No, I mean, I feel like I should get an explain to me like I'm 5 of what's happening. because at the minute, like, I know Mooney is kind of like the hope champion, or Diara is the hope champion, and Mooney's the despair champion. So I'm assuming that they're going to have to fight, but I don't think either of them will want to, and I don't know how we're going to navigate that scenario where it's like, are we just going to defend against each other until Declan gets bored and smites us both?
Do you remember in spoilers for a very old movie,
Did I just give you an idea?
in Infinity War, when they fight over who gets to die as opposed to trying to kill each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
I picture it.
So this is the thing, Eilish. Like, we are obviously building to some sort of conflict between Diara and Mooney, but for me, that doesn't necessarily mean combative. In that, like, okay, spell slots at the ready. Let's start hurling shatter and fireball at each other. I honestly don't know what either of you are going to do. We're going to talk about, what that session could become, and we'll put in some safety tools. But after that, it's up to you, and I will just help orchestrate stuff. I know what my characters want, but I'm curious just to see where either of you will go with it, and not to put pressure on you or Kat, but the next part really is on the pair of you, and what ye do or don't do. I mean, that is putting an awful lot of pressure on you, I just realized. But oh well. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Homebrew Show has asked a question for the players. What's something you're
I'm sure it'll be.
What's something you're looking forward to trying or doing in the upcoming episodes? Not as your character, but as a player. So as a player, what are you kind of like looking forward to doing or trying in the upcoming episodes?
I think for sure and mostly in all of the games, at least recently of memory that I play with you, Declan, the party has always been united and needed to face some sort of usually emotional struggle together.
Embodied in an evil, something evil, usually embodied in an evil.
Yeah. And I know you've done this in other games that I haven't been part of, but for me, this is kind of the first time I'll be in a game where we'll be fighting each other, or where there'll be a rift between the players, and I think that's something I'm not necessarily looking forward to, but I'm interested in seeing that dynamic and how that plays out, because like for me as a person, I'm like conflict avoidant, so to have to be involved in and have my character be like in this conflict will be very interesting, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Richard?
I don't think there's going to be anything more cathartic than just figuring out what the fuck is happening. That's what I'm looking forward to most.
Never said we were going to do that.
Oh, no. Well, I think any light that is shed on the confusion that both Anam and I share would be wonderful.
I feel like, yeah, seeing how everything unravels will be very interesting from a player point of view, because I know that like your storytelling is always super unpredictable and fucking mind-boggling. But it'll be interesting to try and RP the next session with Kat and not immediately jump to combat. Using our words as weapons.
2.5 hours to fill. How long before they start throwing down spells?
No, you know what it will be? If I start crying as a player, then Diara's gonna start fucking throwing spells just to get out of it.
I'm gonna cry at your laptop, Eilish. But...
No, we have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks to fix it. No, we don't. We have a week to fix it, because god damn it, saving grace next week.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. I said we would only try and keep this to kind of an hour or so, and we're just coming up on the hour mark, or we might have just passed the hour mark. But I'm really excited for the next couple of episodes, and the series. This first chapter will finish by around the end of October, so we'll be kind of coming to the end of the first chapter of Beyond Horizon's Edge. Around the middle to end of October. There will be a very brief pause in the story, but then we are going to pick it up with kind of hopefully within 2 weeks of the last episode. But it could go so long as a month. We might take. It just kind of depends on what you as players want to do going forward, and then I also need to figure out what we're going to do going forward, depending on what happens or what transpires. But I am really excited for that, whatever that looks like. I'm excited to just play it with you all. I won't. I don't. There's no other questions in chat. I don't want to drag this out any longer than the hour. So very quickly, just to mention. And thank you to everybody actually in chat first for chiming in and keeping us company this evening. Kat was out sick, so we decided to not stream the rest of the story. We said we would take kind of a reprieve and maybe do a quick reflect on it. But to everybody who joined us in chat, thank you so much. It's always a lot of fun to see people's comments as they're coming in and as the story is unfurling. I want to mention some of the other shows that you can catch over here on D8 Dungeon. So we stream weekly going forward on Monday nights and Thursday nights. So every second Monday, Beyond Horizon's Edge. Every other Monday, starting on the 23rd of September, Saving Grace will return for a brand new season. And I'm so excited for that one. That is going to be terrifying. I am so looking forward to running around in a little horror bubble for a couple of weeks, not months. On Thursdays, alternating, there's Ben and Declan on a Roll, our TTRPG talk show, where myself and Ben from Homebrew Quest and D8 Dungeon get together to talk everything TTRPG and TTRPG adjacent. Every other Thursday, we have our series Random DMs, and at the moment, we are currently randomly making our way through the Dragon of Icespire Peak. I think we're about kind of 2/3 of the way through that story. If you haven't checked it out, all of the VODs for Beyond Horizon's Edge, Random DMs, are available over on our YouTube channel. And every second Friday, with a new episode out this Friday, is our podcast series, Romancing the Dungeon. And we've just started season 3. So that's out now. And that's kind of it. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time. So that is the 30th of September for our, hopefully, our scheduled episode of To Hope Is To Despair. And we will find out just what is awaiting Diarra and Mooney, Redmond and Annam as the forces of Groom and Docus draw closer. Thank you to Emma for producing. I hope all of the technical stuff didn't drive you totally bananas. But we might do some test stuff ahead of Friday, or ahead of Monday. Again, thank you to everybody in chat. If you're not following us on social media, or if you're not over on our Discord server, do check us out at D8 Dungeon. You can hop over to our Discord server, where you will find all manner of fun and shenanigans and some of the coolest people on the internet. And until the next episode, we'll see you back here on Thursday night for Ben and Declan on a Roll, and we are continuing with our exploration of creativity in the TTRPG space. So we will see you then.
Bye.